The Mets have been playing awful baseball, and the crowd has been booing them. Their home crowd has been booing them for playing awful baseball. They started playing good baseball against the Nationals, and they started a new celebration where Lindor, Baez, and Pilar started doing double thumbs downs after good things. The Yankees did it back in 2017 after thumbs down guy, a Mets fan, booed the Yankees for scoring runs. So it's kind of in the same thing.
Trevor Plouffe caused that, right?
Yankees were booing Mets fans, or sharing the boo, whatever. So they asked the Mets players about what was going on. Pilar had like a diplomatic answer. He was like, "Oh, it's just for fun. We're just like poking fun. It's nothing like serious." Blah blah blah. Baez sat there and said that they're booing the fans because if the fans boo them when they do well, or the fans boo them when they do poorly, then they're gonna boo the fans when they do well. And one of the quotes were, "The fans have to be better," and we're gonna boo the fans. So that made a ton of headlines, and like 2 hours later, president of the Mets, Sandy, what's his last name? Alderson. I wanted to say Alcantara. Sandy Alderson, president of the Mets, put out a official release from the Mets on Medium.com, which is basically like Tumblr, which is so weird that the Mets use Medium.com, and took the side of the fans, and said, like, this won't happen. We're going to have a meeting and talk to the players. They cannot treat the fans like that. The fans have the right to express themselves any way possible. They pay for all of this. And then Cohen tweeted something like, I wish the only controversy was the black jerseys again. I mean, Cohen tweeted previously about the lack of discipline, which was also about like Javi, because he's the second least disciplined player in the league, and they traded for him. So the Mets are being the Mets. It's crazy. I tweeted this because we had some people in baseball text us about this, and I just responded and said, it's so insane how much the Mets can be the Mets. And you think it's going to stop, and it's just like the Mets are the Mets. So, Trev, I'll throw it to you first as an ex-player. What are your thoughts on all of this?
There's so much to unpack, Jim. I did talk about this on Baseball Today earlier with Chris Rose. My thoughts are, and if you look around, at what all the other Mets players are saying, Trevor May came out and said this, Pilar, Walker, they're just like, this is getting blown out of proportion. Now, what I think happened was maybe it was a rallying cry within the clubhouse. Like, everybody is against us. Nobody thinks we can do this. Media, the fans, nobody, but we believe in ourselves. I think that's what kind of happened. And then Javi gets in front of the mic and just uses the wrong words. When he said the fans have to be better, you can never say that. Unless you're talking about like throwing objects on the field. But as far as just cheering or booing, you don't say that about the fans. That's the mistake number one. And then number two, like I said, he just worded it wrong. Like, I'm booing the fans because they boo me. It's like, no, you're really just rallying around the fact that nobody believes in you. You're using that energy and turning it into something positive, or trying to turn it into something positive on the field. But, you say the wrong thing in the media, especially the New York media, and especially with the Mets and their past and how they've just been a circus. And this is what happens. We're leading off our show talking about this. There's sports shows that have nothing to do with baseball usually are going to be talking about this. So you bring all of that into the clubhouse. You're making whoever that guy is, Sandy, the president, the GM, whatever he is, come out and make the statement. It's become a big deal, and it shouldn't have been a big deal. Like, he just literally messed up like one or two sentences and said the wrong thing. If he would have said it like Pilar said it, none of this is going on. We're not even talking about this. We're actually talking about the play on the field, how, they won a series. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think like they're bad people or trying to disservice the fans. I think he just worded it incorrectly.
But yeah, so Stroman also came out and said, like, the media spun it. No one spun this. Like, those are the words that Javi said. Yeah. If he wants to come out and say, I didn't mean that, I meant what what Trevor May is saying, and like, no, we're taking the boo away from you and we're booing ourselves to motivate ourselves because we've been bad and blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a way to say it, but he did say the fans have to be better and we're going to boo them if you boo us.
Been a lot of good
he
quotes.
completely used it wrong.
A lot of good quotes coming out of Queens lately between Pete and Javi. Yeah, man, it's as Metsy as it getsy. I mean, when you do the 365-day calendar check, whether it's at the end of this year, and I mean, you go back to Jared Porter and stuff like that, was within the last 365. Rat Raccoon, Donnie Diesel's the imaginary hitting coach.
Firing the coach.
Everything that's gone on with Los Mets, it's unbelievable. I said if you put down the top 5 craziest things that's happened this baseball season and before the season, and you said what team did this happen to, you would have circled Mets for all 5. And then the only one you would have gotten wrong was the town hall from the Seattle Mariners. So it's tough, man. The one thing, because Trev, I think you're all over it, so I don't need to correct a lot of that. I think, it started spiraling between Javi saying a couple, misplacing a couple words. You just can't deliver it that way. You're absolutely right. Back against the wall. It's us versus the world. And they turned that, instead of the world, they directed it at their fans, which is one of the most Mets things I've ever heard. And then, to have the Mets release that press release, like they should have back-channeled that, like with the players or something like that, because then now you're kind of going against your guys. The whole thing was a mess. It's wild. I did Shea Station. I think they're recording right now, or they just wrapped up. Jerry Blevins, I did like this because, a lot of people were going at Baez because he has the quote on this, although the other guys are in on it. Like, if this was the court of law, like, Lindor, Pilar, everyone else would be on the bus with them. Jerry Blevins of Shea Station said, many are calling Baez soft, but I think it's the opposite. It takes huge home run-sized balls to do and say this. Many won't like it, including myself, but it's genuine to him, and I respect it. Not what I want to hear. IMO, it's an unnecessary distraction, which, Jim, going back to what you're saying, like, if you say that statement, which they did, you have to lean into it at that point, and it's the us against the world, not the media spinning it, because I do think it was real, and, man, Javi Baez, boy, do I hope you have the next week and month of your life on a baseball field, because if you don't, oh, my God.
He is going to. He's going to go nuts, and then nobody's going to be talking about this in a week. That's what's going to happen.
That is not what's going to happen. He is going to be booed.
Yes, it is. There's something else is going to happen, and the news cycle.
There's going to be a fraction of Mets fans that boo Javi Baez if he comes back in 7 years.
Because they want to be part of that. Yes.
No, I think that there's a portion of Mets fans that are insulted by that. Like, dude, if you're bad, we can boo you.
Sure.
Right, but you're team booer. You're pro booing.
I don't like antagonizing, name calling,
right,
being mean, harassing in any way. But if something happens and you go, oh, boo, at a baseball game, I think that's as fair as it gets.
So does that give the Mets any right to boo back?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to see.
We're paid millions by the fans.
Are they at home?
Fans spend so much money. It was like when Trevor said he wanted players to go watch a game from the crowd to see how much it means to people. Like, you're invested. And I say it all the time. Don't, like, you fucking bum, you loser, you suck. None of that. That's awful and shouldn't be part of it. But, like, people think that just saying boo is that. It's not. You cheer when you're good, you boo when it's bad. Very simple exchange.